Welcome to Brands Hatch. It's round 6 and 7 of the super amazing TCR UK Championship. I can't wait for this weekend. This circuit is tight, twisty, blind crests, fast corners, slow corners, loads of overtaking. The cars are ready, the crowd are ready. Are you? Cars are all ready to go here at Brands Hatch. They're all in the assembly area. Let's have a little grid walk. This can always go wrong, but let's go and have a chat anyway. A lot of the drivers, they go missing, unfortunately. This is Bradley Kent's car. You can see inside, all the guys are just getting all the cars ready. It's got to be race ready and ready to go. Steering wheel's up there. A lot of dash things going on with the steering wheel. They've got a lot of buttons. And yeah, and that big thing there with the orange tape on is actually a handbrake. It's not the gear stick. Some people think that's a sequential shift. But let's go and have a chat with some of the drivers if we can find them. So follow me. This is Ant Waterneal's car. He's got a good chance, actually, starting in P2. The Subaru's not been the most impressive car pace-wise, but race speed and Ant Waterneal's and Jam Sport as a team will get the best out of this car. The guy's working hard again. Actually, I'll have a quick word with you. I know you're not a driver, but What is going on? Is the car all ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, we think so. We've obviously had a lot of teething issues with it because it's a development year for the car. But we're slowly getting there. We're making progress. Yesterday in a race, Ant was a lot happier with the car than previously. So, you know, we're just trying to make steps forward every time, basically. And if we can make a step forward every time, then we're moving in the right direction. So yeah, we had a few gearbox issues and things like that. So we've been working quite late, but we're confident we're moving in the right direction.
There's no other better race driver on the track for me who can get a car like this up the front, is there? Where do you think he can start? He's starting second, isn't he? So what can he get?
We're really hoping for a really good, strong result here. You know, like you say, Ant's really good in the race. He's really good from a development point of view. His feedback and everything as well, not just on track. He's really good for the team. Really good driver. And I think, you know, we're really confident he can push on in this race and hopefully get a really good result. So
top man. Well, listen, I'm going to speak to Brad because I know he's on the pole. He's going to be the guy that's looking in his mirror and trying to fend this off, isn't he? So yes, Bradley Kent, ladies and gentlemen, always got his earphones in. He's got a bit of time to chat to us. Bradders, this is an amazing opportunity for you to take another win.
Well, yesterday we thought the same thing starting on pole, but the heavens opened sadly, which gave us a few problems with the setup. We put some wets on it, which then ended up it dried out. Everyone had the same problem, but it seemed to, in the wet, it just didn't grip at all. It drove past me like I was standing still. Realistically, I should have been at the front with Chris and Lewis, but like you said, great opportunity, and hopefully we can get away from the start. I know how good Anne and Max are at start, so I've got to get a serious launch, especially off that hill, starting on pole. But we've got two great chances today, starting on pole in this race and then second in the next race, so yeah, definitely got some hope.
Two bites of the cherry, but you won a lot of races last year, and that's what I was alluding to. Won a lot of races, know how to win. It's not really happened at the minute, has it, in the championship for you? But this is it. It's got to be the start now.
Definitely. All year we've just had shocking results due to DNFs that weren't our fault. This is, like you said, a fantastic opportunity. I'd love to get back on the top step. I know what it feels like to be on the top step, and I know I've got the pace to be there, so I don't see why it can't happen today.
Okay, mate, listen, I'll leave you to it. We'll go and speak to Chris Smiley, because he's always a good one I need to speak to. Follow me. Sorry, I'm a bit close here. We're just going to guide ourselves through these people. Sorry. Let's go and try and find Chris Smiley, because I've seen Bradley's dad, which is that guy there, was obviously just checking out what Chris had to say about his car. Look at this, he's the most famous man alive. I thought it was me that was supposed to be famous. We'll just let Chris Smiley, who had an excellent opening round at Oulton Park, and he's still been scoring points, but he's not leading the championship, which I find unbelievable, mate. That round at Oulton, when you come in and smashed everyone to pieces, they were all dreading Chris Smiley and the Honda, but looks like you've become a mature man and you're just getting the points while you can, lad.
Yeah, just take the points, that's it. You know, it's a bit of a shame about race one at Donington. We get taken off in the second lap, but yeah, we got ourselves back up where we needed to be in the second race. We got ourselves back up where we needed to be yesterday. You know, with the two awesome starts, we got from 6th to 2nd both times. So yeah, a bit more of the same today. It's the weather's look good. There's loads of people here. You know, it's looking forward to it.
It's a busy one, isn't it? I mean, I'll just get our cameraman to have a look down. Look at all the cars in the actual assembly area. This is something, I'll be dead honest, I'm not used to the close proximity of all the people kicking about, but it helps with the tension, doesn't it, and nerves of the racing.
Yeah, it's good. You know, listen, we have all our sponsors here this weekend, so it's good to put a good show on for them, have everybody here, and yeah, it's they've been so warm on Friday. We've had 3 seasons. We've had the heat on Friday, a little bit cooler yesterday, and rain, and today it seems to be a bit warmer again. So yeah, it should be good. You know, the cars. The car felt good all weekend. You know, obviously we've got 45 kilos of weight on, which makes quite a big difference running a start-stop track like this here. So, yeah, more points in order for today.
Yeah. And you were talking about the rain. The track will be what we call green, so it'll have washed all the rubber away, won't it? Yeah. And you've obviously got different championships running here today. Is there anything in your back pocket setup-wise that you've done, or have you changed anything from yesterday?
We've made a few adjustments to tyre pressures and things. You know, obviously you want a race car a little bit looser than a qualifying car, so yeah, there's things you can do to loosen up the car and make the setup change from, obviously it's a 25-minute race, so it's 25 laps, it's a long race, so you need your car to be sort of strong from mid to end instead of being good for the first few laps and then going backwards. So yeah, we've tried to engineer a car to be sort of good halfway through and make sure that we've got something at the end to push on with at the end.
It's race time here at Brands Hatch, the fantastic Indy circuit it is for the guys. We've got a feisty front row. We've got Bradley Kent and we've got Antwater Niels in the Subaru. How's it going to go? I can't wait, but it's over to Andy McEwen and Jake Sanson in the commentary box.
And with this being a reverse grid top 10 from yesterday's race, it's going to be a very exciting start. Brad Kent in pole position alongside Antwater Niels in the Subaru WRX. On the second row, it's Max Hart, championship leader, alongside Jack Constable in the Cupra TCR. Then it's Alex Lee in the very fast Hyundai alongside Adam Shepard in his similar machine. Isaac Smith is P7 on the grid from Callum Newshan in P8. Rounding out the top 10, it is Chris Smiley and yesterday's 50th TCR UK race winner, Lewis Kent. Bruce Winfield and Russell Joyce are going to share the 6th row of the starting grid in the 2 Cupras. Andrew Wilmot and Jack Depper will share row 7 of the grid. Row 8 is going to see Brad Hutchison in the Audi and Neil Trotter in the Cupra. And then in row 9, we're going to see Matthew Wilson alongside Scott Sumpton in his X-Swift Hyundai. Then we're going to see Jess Hawkins in the Fast R Cupra alongside Darrell Wilson in the Vauxhall Astra. And then we will have Chris Wallace and Jamie Tonks, who is going to be charging his way through from the 11th row. And then at the back of the grid, it's going to be Steve Gales in his Audi.
Here we go then, round number 6 of the TCR UK Championship for 2022, and Bradley Kent, who was on pole yesterday, ended up finishing 10th, really needs to take advantage of being back on the front row for this second 25-minute race of the weekend. The lights are out, we're away and racing on board with Callum Newsham, who hooks up the Cupra well, he draws level with Isaac Smith, there's a bit of bunching ahead, and Newsham goes to the outside. Antwater Niels, though, is challenging for the race lead. He's on the outside of Brad Kent through Paddock Hill. Then the youngster muscles him out wide and holds on to the advantage.
Typical touring car move on the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. Very nicely handled as Brad Hutchison goes wheel to wheel with Joyce. They go through the hairpin at Druids for the first time. Darrell Wilson, just a tiny little love tap. Antwater Niels, though, into Graham Hill Bend, dives in, takes the lead away. So Antwater Niels leads as they come up to Surtees.
Well then, now we have a race on our hands, don't we? Because there is no way Walt Niels will relinquish this lead without quite some fight. On board with Hutchison, who's on the inside of Bruce Winfield. Bruce was out wide through Graham Hill Bend and loses ground, and a really robust pass there. That was Isaac Smith in the race car consultant's Golf up the inside of Alex Lee. Already the drivers getting their elbows out.
And Jamie Tonks is currently cutting through the field like scissors through wet newspapers, absolutely charging his way back from the penultimate row of the grid. So as they come through, it's Ward Niels from Constable, Kent, and then it is Isaac Smith, but Kent is going to get out wide. He's very close here to losing out to Max Hart. Max Hart is going to get the inside line as Brad Hutchison goes around the outside of Joyce, but he can't quite get the car pinned down on the throttle, so Joyce is going to cut in cross once again, as Bruce Winfield has entered the pits, so problems for him.
Yeah, he had that grassy moment, didn't he? Look at Brad Kent there out wide. Brad Kent is really struggling for pace. Hart goes through into third, and now Isaac Smith up the inside as well. Bradley Kent, who's had a miserable season so far, and sadly his Brands Hatch weekend isn't getting any better. There further back, you can see Lewis Kent is ahead of Chris Smiley. They were the top two yesterday, but the other way round, so already between those two, it's advantage Lewis.
Brad Kent taking a massive line out of clearways to go right round the outside and try and cut his way through. So Smith is now in third place from Kent, and we've got Shepard and Winfield both in the pit lane at the moment as Ant Wharton-Heels is desperately trying to hang on. Back on board with Hutchison once again, up the climb. Druids once more, he's going to go the long way round. This time he's going to be a little bit further in front. But again, Joyce just covers that inside line and chops across. There's no way you're getting through, but Hutchison stands on it and then stabs on the brakes into the inside of Graham Hill Bend. Finally, he gets his man.
Yeah, tenacious stuff there for Hutchison. Winfield back into the race, but no sign of Adam Shepard rejoining the track just yet. Meanwhile, Isaac Smith, Lewis Kent and Chris Smiley getting themselves together. Kent out wide, and the Irishman sees his chance, goes up the inside of both of them. This is going to be tricky. 3 wide, out of clearways, through Clark Curve. Can Lewis Kent clear them both? I think he might just be able to do it. Lewis Kent got the first ever victory for the Veloster in the UK yesterday, and that was a lovely bit of driving to get the better of Isaac Smith and Chris Smiley.
And Jack Depper in the Dirt Devil Golf's trying to get in there. Brilliant stuff, and it's only going to get better. Intense racing battles everywhere you look in TCR UK. It's always the way. I'm afraid Adam Shepard has had a drive shaft failure, so his race has come to nothing. Depper trying to get up on the inside of Isaac Smith out of Graham Hill Bend. We go on board with Callum Newsham. He has got Matthew Wilson in the JWB car in front of him. So they go up through Surtees, up towards Clark. A little bit of bouncing. Hutchison is desperately trying to find his way through, and there is Depper in the Dirt Devil Golf just getting a little bit wide. So Hutchison is now going to get up alongside, but it's still these two up front, Wharton-Heels and Constable, and they have pulled nearly 2 seconds clear of Kent and Lee, so this is fantastic stuff. But Brad Kent is really struggling to hold on to third place. Here comes Depper, can't get by.
Yeah, Hutchison got past Depper, but then managed to hold on into paddock as well. Adam Shepard's weekend, though, has been a miserable one. Mechanical problems right from the moment he arrived here on Friday. Wallop, that was a whack up at the top of the hill, and that was Jamie Tonks getting his elbows out, whilst Chris Smiley is slow. Chris Smiley, championship front runner. It looks like this could be his first non-finish of the year.
Well, Bradley Kent is still trying to hold off the championship leader, Max Hart. Watch out for the Essex Bodies Hyundai of Lewis Kent, the two-time champ. He's desperately trying to get through on the inside. Can't quite find the space on Alex Lee. So Lee is still holding on to 5th position as they come out of clearways, and the Essex Bodies Veloster desperately trying to find its way forward, and there is Chris Smiley, and it's up in smoke.
Well, that is not good news for the Irishman. He was second in the championship arriving here at Brands Hatch, and it's all gone wrong. Meanwhile, it's now a 3-way fight for the lead as Bradley Kent is coming back at the front runners up the inside of Jack Constable. He goes there leaning on each other out of Druids. Bradley actually left him a lot of room there, so Jack's able to hold the inside at Graham Hill Bend and retain second place.
Great to see that although the racing is hard, it is respectful between the guys up at the front end. They are going to give themselves a hard, firm, but clean race of it. As now Brad Kent is going to try again. Desperately tries to cut through, and you can see Constable 3 wheels on the deck and 1 in the air as he gets massive lock on the way through. Up comes Callum Newsham trying to get through on Andrew Wilmot in the Jam Sport machine. Can't quite make it stick, and now they're going to run side by side down the home straight. It's going to be a drag race to the braking zone for Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, Newsham's got the preferred inside line, but that Hyundai is quick in a straight line. Newsham late on the brakes, over the bump, gets into Paddock Hill Bend first and gets himself ahead of the Goodyear Diamond Trophy Championship leader Andy Wilmot, who's having a much improved weekend here. He's much closer to the outright pace and enjoying it all the more for it.
So still Wharton-Heels from Constable and Brad Kent. Then you've got Max Hart, the championship leader, who's keeping it nice and steady in 4th position. We're just watching Darryl Wilson in 9th place in front of Wilson and Newsham. Here comes the move from Brad Kent, diving in again for 2nd place on Jack Constable, and this time it looks like he's got it nailed. Out of clearways they're going to come, and Brad Kent takes back 2nd place. Bosh!
That was quite the move, wasn't it, from Bradley Kent? Now can Constable come back at him into Paddock Hill Bend? Bradley's going to hold the middle ground just in case the attack comes, but no, Constable not quite close enough. So now, Wharton-Heels versus Bradley Kent, but it's a 6-car train for the lead. This is touring car racing at its best, and we saw last time at Donington, didn't we, Jake? And Wharton-Heels is not an easy man to overtake, so this is going to be fun.
And Wharton-Heels, I actually noticed the back end of the car steps out ever so slightly in the braking zone for Druids, and probably up towards Clark as well, so he's actually trying to make sure that the car stays balanced all the way around this course, and it's not easy. So Brad Kent is going to try again up the inside. Wart Neals making that Subaru even wider than usual. Little love tap on the back bumper as they come out of clearways, and this is going to give Jack Constable a run on Brad Kent. They're going to power up through the throttle, and Constable's going to get alongside. Can he slice up into the first corner? They're going to try. They are absolutely side by side as they come through over the line, and that was enough momentum to give Constable the place. Max Hart trying to get in on the inside.
Well, Bradley left the door wide open for Jack there, didn't he? But now he's back up the inside into Druid's corner, and maybe that was all part of the plan, because Bradley Kent is back into second. Max Hart tries to come through with him. Much better showing here for Max, who had a clutch problem in testing on Friday. Did one lap of pre-event testing, and that was it. So he's been on the back foot ever since. This is the most competitive he's been so far.
Well, now we've got Sumpton battling away with Trotter. These two getting a little bit too close for comfort, because Trotter is trailing bodywork but still going strong. Brad Kent trying to get back on terms with Wart Neals. He's going to get better traction out of clearways, but will he have the space? No, because Wart Neals cuts straight back across him. Now it's going to be about acceleration once again. As they come across the line, they've got a slow car in front of them. That's going to make things spicy.
Yeah, into paddock again. Where do they catch that slower car, and how do the leaders deal with it? And Wart Neals is definitely not as quick as Brad Kent, but he's sort of parking the car on the apexes of the corners, not allowing Brad through, unless, of course, the youngster can go around the outside, but they encounter Steve Gale's Audi right at the worst moment, so they have to get back to single file. Constable and Hart will also have to sort it out for third place. Bang! Contact there from the Hyundai into the back of the Subaru, but still Wart Neals hangs on.
How have they managed to get away with this without a serious incident? You've now got Lewis Kent skating up the inside of Max Hart. Hart is going to drift out wide, and he's off. He's off with Alex Lee. So Max Hart and Alex Lee both go off the road.
Oh no, disaster for the championship leader. He's right to the back of that group now, and Isaac Smith, I think it was, that got into the side of him. Max Hart will be furious. Here is the replay of what happened. Down the back straight into Surtees. Lewis Kent goes up the inside. It's actually Alex Lee who tries to follow him. Max, in fairness, was having a moment already, but then the contact sent him around. Great car control there, though, because he could easily have lost it completely.
And amazing reactions from Brad Hutchison. He could easily have collected into the door of Max Hart. Here he is on board. Whoa. Goodness me, that is a big intake of breath from Hutchison. How on earth he avoided that, I don't know. But now we've got Bradley Kent trying to go for the lead again on Wart Neals. The blue flags are still out for Gales, by the way. He's got some of the drivers he's let through, but there are still more to come. Now Brad Kent's going to get his chance up on the inside. Uses a little bit of curb. Good traction, good speed, and the door's still open. Constable's going to get through as well.
Yeah, Bradley Kent to the lead. Constable, though, crucially trying to go with him. I tell you what, though, they've sorted the top end of this Subaru out at the end of the straights. Wart Neals coming back at them. Look, gets himself back level with Constable, but on the outside line, he'll lose out, and Lewis Kent, showing that he's not a double champion for nothing, takes full advantage to move into third. So now we've got a Kent sandwich at the front of the field. Bradley leads, Lewis in third, and Jack Constable in second place. Can Bradley escape? Now he's got the lead. Well, not if he keeps doing that.
Oh, and Wart Neals showed absolutely no respect there to Isaac Smith, and there's a spin. That is Lee, I think, again. Alex Lee has lost it a second time. Just, it seemed as though, I don't know whether there was contact or not, but he lost the back end. It snaked out of his hands, and he ended up just completely pirouetting around.
Oh dear, Isaac Smith there at the inside of Wart Neals. That's going to end in contact. Of course it does. Sideways for Wart Neals, who loses out to Smith, and Brad Hutchison having one of his best showings of the season so far, looking like he could get a top 5 finish out of this one. So across the line they go. Bradley Kent leading, Constable second, Lewis in third, back on board with Hutchison, who continues to make progress.
So they come through Paddock Hill Bend once again, climbing up the hill to Druids, back in the pits. We can see that Alex Lee has sustained damage to the right rear wheel after that little moment out on the circuit. Now they might be able to get him back again. What's been happening with Jamie Tonks? So this is going to be interesting. Going wheel to wheel with Andy Wilmot as they go down the straight. He's got the 360-degree onboard camera this time, and he's not the only one going to get on the inside. Wilmot's going to have a go. I think he's going to really struggle to get that door shut again, as Wilmot is going to go wheel to wheel on the run to Druids.
And they've got Russell Joyce look behind. Joyce and Wilmot fighting for the Goodyear Diamond Trophy lead here, but this is terrific side-by-side racing and squeaky clean as well. Wilmot leaving Tonks room, and then Tonks chops across back onto the racing line. Right, into the closing stages. Brad Kent continues to lead, but not escaping from Jack Constable. Jack is a 2-time winner in TCR UK, got both of them last year, and he's after a third. Goes up the inside of Paddock, absolute peach of a move, and the Cupra now goes to the lead.
you know, that's one of the moves of the season because he left that to the last possible moment. Kent's got problems. He is slowing. It looks as though he's taken a little bit of damage to the front bonnet because it's slightly open. And I wonder if he's just getting a little bit of wind resistance trying to lift the bonnet up. And there's one or two other problems coming. So look, Brad Kent is slowing. That is such a shame. He was on pole position again, courtesy of finishing 10th yesterday. But I'm afraid for the second race in a row, it's not going to be a winning charge forward.
Yeah, he could even have bodywork rubbing on a tyre. He's had quite a few bits of contact with a couple of drivers, hasn't he, in this one? That means, though, that Brad Hutchison now gets himself into 4th position. This is a brilliant drive from the driver of the Bondit Blue Audi, who comes across the line, then chasing after the leader, Jack Constable. Second, Isaac Smith. Isaac hasn't won a race yet this year, but he's right up there in the championship standings, and a second place would do him the world of good.
Antwort Niels has got some damage to his car as Brad Kitt has come into the pit lane for repairs. Look at Antwort Niels' car on the right-hand side. There is definitely some bodywork flapping there, just on the underside of the wheel arch, I think, so he's definitely got some difficulties with the Subaru. It's not quite as pristine as it was at the start. There is Max Hart, who is having a fairly leisurely race by his standards after his spin, but he has managed to get back in front of Callum Newsham, looking likely to pick up some decent points. Then it is Darrell Wilson in front of Joyce, and then Tonks has now managed to get himself into the top 10.
Yeah, so Hart back into 6th, that could be important because he's still bagging points, even when at times it looked like this would be a fairly disastrous race for him. At the head of the field, I'm not convinced Isaac Smith quite has the pace here to live with Constable. Looks like that gap is going out. Jack Constable, who again needed to try and lift his season up a little bit this weekend, looks set to do exactly that. Smith second and Lewis Kent scoring points well in 3rd place. Got the Velocitas first win yesterday and looks set for another top 3 here.
I've got a feeling that Hutchison has got a little bit left in the tank as well. If the guys out in front are not looking after their tyres as efficiently as Brad Hutchison, he could actually get a chance for 3rd position. Just needs to keep on letting that Audi run its race and coax it through each apex with a little bit more in reserve. Max Hart, championship leader, has got a lot of pressure now from Callum Newsham, who in the Norscott car is really pushing hard. They come off the Clark corner up towards Clearways, and I think Newsham's got a run here. This is going to be an interesting charge into turn 1. If he's going to be braver on the brakes, then Callum Newsham may get his opportunity here to take on the championship leader.
Defensive line taken by that championship leader, Max Hart, though, so he does manage to hold on through Paddock Hill Bend. Drifts a little bit wide, but a bit too much curb taken by Newsham. That means it sort of balances out. As these two battle, of course, they're actually being caught by the Vauxhall Astra of Darrell Wilson, having his best race of the season as well. Really nice to see a few drivers who have struggled in the first couple of meetings coming good here at Brands Hatch.
This is why it's so competitive in TCR UK, as well, there isn't enough duct tape in the world sometimes, but that is a bit of a repair job for Brad Kent.
Into the closing stages then of what has been a fantastic 6th round of the championship. There are the rolling remains of the block coin i30N of Bradley Kent, back on track but laps down now after pitting to get the front bodywork repaired. As this battle continues to rage on, Max Hart needs to hang on to this 6th place. It's not the podium result that he's used to scoring this year, but every point this season is going to count.
Newsham is in the box seat though. He can really register where Hart is going to place the car and learn from it, so we can start to gauge a little bit more. Oh, goodness me, and Wart Niels, 2 in the air, 2 on the deck. He is still pushing that Subaru to within an inch of its apex. As Hart, again, look, is definitely driving defensive, and he's going to have, alongside him there, Newsham trying to go all the way through. So it's an interesting one as they continue to make good battles out there. But Lewis Kent is actually struggling to hold Hutchison and Wart Niels at bay now. I did think that Hutchison and Wart Niels would edge each other closer towards Lewis Kent. It just doesn't seem to be quite the perfect balance in the Hyundais here at Brands Hatch. It doesn't seem to be coming their way.
Yeah, of course, there have been some balance performance changes since Donington where the Hyundais were so strong, so that's kind of to be expected. But Lewis Kent certainly struggling in the latter stages. The good news for him is that Hutchison also has to watch his mirrors because Antwort Niels is right behind him and almost up the inside of him through Paddock Hill Bend. Again, Ant uses plenty of curb. This, at the moment, would be the best result for the Subaru in TCR UK. In fact, in TCR competition anywhere in the world. But he, as always, like we know with Ant, wants to do better if he can.
Lewis Kent's got problems with his bonnet as well. His brother had issues and now he's got problems. If you look as they come through Graham Hill Bend, on the right front quarter of the car, that is flapping in the breeze as well. So Lewis Kent may have a problem in the last 2 minutes of the race if he's not careful. There's Hart, Newsham, and look how close Wilson and Tonks have got. They have absolutely charged their way back, and this is going to become a quartet rather than a duo.
Yeah, Tonks, remember, started from the back of the grid, didn't he? So very impressive stuff. Neil Trotter, meanwhile, in his second TCR UK event, running inside the top 15. Remember, he scored points inside the top 15, so he's on course for one championship point at the end of the race, which is not that far away now. We're very much into the closing stages, and Antwon Eels is dropping back. Don't tell me I've put the curse of the commentator on him. That 5th place could be in jeopardy if he's running into mechanical problems.
And round the outside of him, several laps down, of course, is Brad Kent, who is 3 laps behind the rest of the field, and he is making mincemeat of Antwon Eels around the outside of Druids, so that would suggest you're right, Andy. I think there's definitely some issues for the Subaru, but look at Jack Constable in the Powermax car out in front, just absolutely enjoying life in the lead, and this is definitely going to help out in terms of his championship aspirations. He is bringing the Powermax Cupra back into championship winning contention with this victory. He's going to close down a bit of the gap to Max Hart, and they are going to continue on in fine style out of this one.
Yeah, Jack's not been feeling well this weekend either, actually. He's pretty much lost his voice, says he's down with some sort of a virus and just is not feeling 100% at all. So this makes this performance all the more impressive. Yes, it's a reverse grid race, but he was up there challenging for the lead early on anyway. Oh, Antwon Eels, though, is not quite going to make it to the flag. The Subaru pulls over and will retire with less than a lap to go.
Well, how about the Dirt Devil Golf? Depper is going to try and make his way past Trotter in the closing stage. Oh, that's Lewis Kent going off. Lewis Kent has run wide there, and that could jeopardise 3rd position. Meanwhile, Max Hart is really struggling to keep Newsham at bay in 5th position, and now we've got Trotter and Depper going wheel to wheel as they come out of Druids. It really is kicking off at the very end of this race now, as Lewis Kent is desperately racing to the line, but it is going to be a victory for Jack Constable in front of Isaac Smith. Lewis Kent hangs on by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, that was tight, wasn't it? Hutchison comes through with a really, really strong result as well, but that is a 3rd career victory in TCR UK for Jack Constable, and possibly one of the hardest fought in his career. Here's the resumption of that battle between Jack Depper and Neil Trotter. Looks like Depper will just about hang on, but Neil Trotter brings the battered and bruised Cupra across the start finish line inside the points.
So a fabulous end to a brilliant race and a wonderful drive from Jack Constable. And in terms of the championship fight, with Hart being down the order, that's definitely going to make things particularly entertaining in terms of the title aspirations. Jack Constable picking up the win from Isaac Smith and Lewis Kent. Brad Hutchison P4, Max Hart only 5th on this occasion from Callum Newsham. Great drive from Darrell Wilson in P7, great comeback for Jamie Tonks, and Russell Joyce picks up the Diamond Trophy ahead of Andrew Wilmot as they round out the top 10. Jess Hawkins in a solid 11th in front of Jack Depper and Neil Trotter. From Wilson and Wallace, Scott Sumpton in the Essex and Kent car from Bruce Winfield, and a whole host of retirements. Gales, Lee and Brad Kent, who didn't finish the race in the end. From Antwon Eels, Chris Smiley and Adam Shepard in jeopardy.
I think Brad did most of the hard work for half of us sitting behind him. He got his elbows out for sure and got past everything that he saw in front of him. But yeah, no, really pleased with it, really pleased with it. I think it's boosted me up in the championship a bit more. Obviously Chris had the DNF, which means he's got 0 points there. So I think we may or may not have moved into 2nd now. I think we might have just creeped in. But yeah, no, it's looking good. As I say, consistency is key and we're going to keep on trying. I started 3rd in the last one. I know me and Brad, if we get out to the front, we can push away and build a gap. So that's what we're going to try and do.
Donington really wasn't the strong place for the golf at the end of the day. The shape of it really doesn't help. So yeah, we ended up losing positions there and we lost a bit of championship points. But now we're on the way back, which is exactly what we need.
Race 1 done and dusted. Jack Constable, great win. How did you do that?
Just patience, mate. Just sat there and waited for it all to unfold in front of us. It was just waiting for it to come to us in more than anything, in all honesty. I knew that if I carried on just doing what we were doing and just being consistent with the lap time, then it would kind of fall to us at the end. I know that Hyundai's a bit heavier on the tyre than we are. So yeah, just waited for it all to happen.
I'm here with a man that is new to the series, TCR UK, for this year, Adam Shepard. Adam, mate, you were the fastest man alive on Media Day, but ever since then, you have had nothing but terrible luck, and you're sat with me now, and that's even worse.
Yes, yeah, there's that. Yeah, the first time I ever drove the car was Media Day. We got the car 2 days before, put it down, and it was fast, and we were kind of pretty pleased with that. And then it's just spiraled downhill from there, really. We've had all sorts of issues with the car. We've had shock absorber failures, we've had a drive shaft failure. It's just been one of those seasons so far.
Yeah, a lot of the people who are in the game, Mickey Butler from Dunlop and Goodyear, who supply the tyres, he was one of the people that told me who was the fastest person on media day, and I thought I misheard him.
Yeah.
No disrespect to you.
Yeah.
I know that budget has always been a massive problem, and I was expecting you to be on the grid, but I really didn't expect you to be as fast as you've been, mate. And how frustrating is it to be so fast and have such bad luck and have little budget?
It is. It's a killer. So we had enough sponsorship to do the first 2 or 3 rounds, which is where we are now. And the plan was to try and get up the front. We know we've got the pace to be winning, so we thought if we get up the front, do it properly, and see if we can win, get some good results, and then progress from there. We were leading at Donington, and we were thinking, okay, it's coming back together, and then we had a shock absorber failure and a DNF, and so frustrating. I think this is, at the minute, it's our last round that we've entered until we can get some more budget secured. So yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. And how do you go about that? Because obviously it is frustrating, but how can you try and get those people together? It's about getting the results, like you say, but when you're not getting them because of failures, it's a pain.
It's hard. You can't really go to someone, oh, look how fast we were, but we didn't finish. And that's not our fault. It's mechanical stuff, and race 2 then we got hit, which caused a DNF. So it's not really stuff that we can control at the minute, but hopefully we can show that we do have the pace to be at the front and start building together with some of our existing sponsors and see if we can bring more together to try and get out there for the rest of the year.
Yeah. So just to put it into perspective for people watching at home, we're in between the 2 races today here at Brands Hatch. You've had a drive shaft failure.
Yeah.
You've literally just put your overalls on to come and do an interview with me, thinking your car may make the grid or not, because we're out in a bit.
Yes, so yeah, we had an engine change because we had an engine problem. We come from last to 5th yesterday, and we thought our weekend's back on track. Second corner we got hit and a DNF. And all our family, it's a local track for us. We had about 30 of our family and friends here, and they've all gone home because no one had any drive shaft, and we found one last minute. So the team are putting that in now to try and hopefully make the grid.
Yeah. And as we're sat here in the assembly area, the cars are coming past. Hopefully yours will be one of them. Yeah, but I'm sure it will be your team, Jam Sport, and the guys and girls helping you out, doing a great job. So hopefully we see you on the grid, and good luck with the rest of it, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Fingers crossed.
So things should be very interesting in this 3rd race of the weekend. Adam Shepard obviously had a drive shaft failure in race 1, but he's going to be there in the top 5. Alex Lee and Brad Kent will share the front row of the grid for the final race of the weekend. Lewis Kent is there in 3rd, Callum Newsham in P4. Could be an interesting one for him from the 2nd row. Adam Shepard and Brad Hutchison are together on row 3. On row 4 of the grid, it is Isaac Smith on the inside, Chris Smiley on the outside. And rounding out the top 10, on row 5, it's going to be Jamie Tonks on the inside line. Bruce Winfield will be in P10 in the Cupra. Jess Hawkins will line up alongside race 2 winner Jack Constable. And then in row 7, it's going to be Darryl Wilson alongside Matthew Wilson. On the 8th row of the grid, we're going to see 2 hard chargers, Max Hart, championship leader, alongside the ex-Swift Hyundai of Scott Sumpton. Then it's going to be Antwort Niels way down on the 9th row, alongside Russell Joyce, who'll won another Diamond Trophy victory. Jack Depper and Andrew Wilmot will round out the top 20. Then on the 11th row of the grid, we're going to see Neil Trotter beside Chris Wallace, and they are going to share that particular row of the grid. Behind them, it is Steve Gales trying to make an impression from P23 on the grid. Well, the first attempt to get this race underway did not end well for Neil Trotter and Russell Joyce. They ended up tagging wheels, bouncing off the Armco for Joyce, and poor Steve Gales was completely unsighted, and so all 3 drivers in trouble. The red flags came out, and so we're going to get another start.
Yes, thankfully though, all drivers involved were okay. Steve Gales there being assisted by the medics. And as you can see, it was smiles all around, but Steve Gales having a bit of a weekend to forget. So take 2 then, round number 7 of the championship. And away we go. It's the youngster Alex Lee on pole position. And he makes a really good start in his Hyundai on board with Hutchison, who already has Isaac Smith slipping up the inside in the Golf. Chris Smiley is there as well. Chris had a disappointing qualifying session yesterday, so has work to do for the back of the top 10.
Up they come to Druids. Chris Smiley still alongside Hutchison as they come into the braking zone. It's going to get quite tight and twisty as they go through. There's Newsham on the inside of Hutchison. Smiley, oh, it's a chain reaction. And unfortunately, Newsham has ended up off the road and into the barriers. That was too many cars into too small a space.
Yeah, just a big stack up coming off the corner. Really unfortunate there though for Callum Newsham, who was on for potentially a good result in this one. The rest of the field sorting themselves out through Surtees. There's our race 2 winner Jack Constable coming through. And Max Hart again having having qualified outside of the top 10 for this race, trying to battle his way through into the big point scoring positions.
Now let's have another look at this. Unfortunately, it's Callum Newsham that comes off worse from this. You can see Smith getting sideways. Newsham doesn't have time to react, and he gets a little bit of a nudge from behind as well. It's one of those things, unfortunately, you've got too many cars into too small a space. You can't all react in time. Looks like a racing incident to me, but if the officials deem that there is somebody at fault, they'll obviously point it out.
Yeah, it all depends on what gets reported, what the drivers choose to protest after the race. We'll wait and see what comes of it, but either way, Callum Newsham in the barriers and going no further. Early drama then for Newsham and for championship contender Smiley.
Still great racing to come in the remainder of this third race of the weekend, and you can see how tight it is in the middle of the pack, but certainly out in front. Alex Lee has got Brad Kent. Is that Jack Constable? Jack Constable's gone off in clearways.
Oh no, damage to the race 2 winners Cupra, and he is in the gravel and going no further. That's a real shame. The Power Max driver was finally starting to turn his season around, and it's all gone wrong again.
Well, that's Jack Constable in dire straits, and I'm afraid that's a chance to close up on the Selco T4 car of Max Hart in the championship lead. Definitely scuppered. Back to the front, Alex Lee and Brad Kent. Lewis Kent in third in front of Shepard and Isaac Smith in P5, but with Constable's car in the gravel at Clearways, surely they've got to consider a safety car.
Yeah, that is one of the prime overtaking opportunities, so yellow flags there, not ideal. That is the situation at the moment though, and Lee will not want a safety car here, will he? Because he's building up a nice little cushion ahead of Bradley Kent. Alex Lee was the youngest ever pole sitter in TCR UK, having set the fastest time in qualifying yesterday, and his race pace seems to be matching it.
So Chris Smiley is trying to get in on the inside of Brad Hutchison. They come up towards Paddock Hill Bend once again. Field flying through. Jess Hawkins there trying to get in close behind Depper in the Dirt Devil Golf. As they work their way up, let's see, where is the championship leader? Where is Max Hart at the moment? Because he is there or thereabouts. Are we slowing up a little bit here, I think? No, not quite.
Well, I think Isaac Smith just had a big moment at Druids. He's at the head of the group that Max Hart is chasing. There is the Jam Sport Hyundai look, chasing after that leading pack. So he's into the top 10, having started down in about 12th on the grid. Back through Clearways we come. Still no sign of this safety car for the time being. So the battles continue to rage on, including this one for third. Lewis Kent just ahead of Adam Shepard. So great to have Shepard out there. There is the safety car, so everything will bunch up as we sort of predicted.
That was kind of inevitable, really, because the car is obviously beached and they're going to need the recovery truck to get it out of the position there at Clearways. So I'm afraid that was kind of inevitable. Poor Jack Constable, from hero to zero, from one race to the next.
Goes to show just how quickly your fortunes can change in TCR racing. Right then, the track is clear, the safety car is heading in, and Alex Lee now has to deal with a safety car restart. Isaac Smith's on his toes, isn't he? A bit too eager to get going. It's a very congested restart, but now they accelerate away, and Lewis Kent is pushing his brother along. Look into Paddock Hill Bend. Can they gang up on the youngster out in front? I wonder. It's 4 Hyundais actually in the front of the field, including Shepard in fourth. But Alex Lee, despite having everyone right on his tail, holds on to the lead and managed that restart well.
Chris Smiley trying not to go straight into the back of Hutchison as the Selco T4 driver, Max Hart, very nearly went round the outside of him. That was brave on the brakes, but he couldn't quite stop the car. But out in front, the top three, Lee and the Kent brothers. Whoa, spin from Tonks.
Oh no, the Fastar Cupra arrives into shot backwards. That's not the ideal line through Graham Hill Bend. He won't be happy with that. Callum Newsham here fighting back, got going again after his trip into the barriers earlier on, and dives up the inside of Chris Wallace as Chris Smiley does the same thing to Max Hart. The two Irish drivers making friends at Clearways.
Hart and Smiley absolutely leaning on each other through Clearways. Excellent to see them giving it absolutely everything they can. We're going to see what happened to Jamie Tonks down at Graham Hill Bend, and well, that's a very close Dirt Devil Golf to the Farstar Cupra. I wonder if he was involved.
Yeah, you'd have to suggest he was pushed rather than jumping off the track at that point, but either way, Depper carries on, and he's now battling away with Darrell Wilson. Look, tries to get up the inside at Clearways. He is, though, being investigated for causing a collision, so draw your own conclusions there. The Dirt Devil Golf driver could be in a spot of bother.
And now Wilmot is trying to clue himself in behind Depper and try and get the slipstream to open the door on the inside of Darrell Wilson, so it could be two passing Darrell Wilson into Paddock Hill Bend. Adam Shepard right in behind Lewis Kent. This is a fabulous race for Shepard, and very deservedly so. He might just be able to get his way onto the podium, but he's definitely going to have to work hard. Very impressive indeed from Alex Lee. All the pressure in the world from the Kent brothers, and he's held on to this and actually stretched the lead.
I mean, he turned heads when he took pole position for this race. Imagine if he could hang on for the race victory. That's where Bradley Kent been getting up to. Really cutting the corner right on two wheels. And does he run wide on the exit as well? He does a little bit. Needs to be careful. They're monitoring track limits in that corner. The last thing he needs is a penalty.
Well, Antwort Neal's in more trouble. The Jam Sport crew now repairing the Subaru as here comes the Selco T4 car. Max Hart squeezing on the inside of the Bondit Blue. This is a brilliant run from Brad Hutchison, but unfortunately he loses out there as we go back on board with Callum Newsham, now trying to get his way up the inside of Sumpton, brakes into Druids, and on the inside, and Brad Kent is under investigation for track limits for that moment into Graham Hill Bend on the last lap, and a lovely move from Newsham. It's not finished. Sumpton's going to get him straight back again.
Oh, Scott Sumpton not giving in there at all, is he? So Callum Newsham has a fight on his hands. Adam Shepard, meanwhile, look, is ahead of Lewis Kent. Adam Shepard into the podium places now. What a reward that would be for the team for doing such hard work to get him on track.
Well, the Jam Sport boys scratching their heads a little bit as to what is still causing an issue for Antwort Neals, but it's definitely game over in round 7 of the TCR UK Championship. Here, back on the track, Hutchison now has another driver to go with, and this time it's Smiley.
Still, Callum Newsham cannot get past Scott Sumpton. Sumpton, though, drifts a little bit wide there at Paddock Hill Bend. That opens the door invitingly for the Liqua Molly Cupra, which goes up the inside line into Druids Corner. Chris Smiley and Bruce Winfield leaning on each other. Winfield keeps on coming down the grass. Surely isn't going to stop the car. Indeed, he doesn't. And Chris Smiley, using all his years of experience there, realised the switchback was on. Draws level as the obligatory bit of paint traded down the Cooper straight, but the Honda goes through.
Bruce Winfield in the world's fastest lawnmower down to Graham Hill Bend there. He took so much grass with him on the inside line, and now Darrell Wilson, he got a little bit loose through Graham Hill Bend, and now Newsham is going to get back alongside him, up through the gears, and certainly Callum Newsham knows that Darrell Wilson is still right alongside him, and here comes Sumpton. He's going to try and squeak through on the inside as well. Newsham's going to have to be late on the brakes. He is. And Sumpton will try and go through on the inside as well. 2 into 1.
Yeah, looks like Sumpton might be able to make that stick. Yes, he has looked. So the pink and white Hyundai moves ahead of the Astra, who now has the new shape lay-on behind of Matthew Wilson, who after his off at Donington Park last time will be grateful to have kept it out of the kitty litter.
Well, Antwort Neals is going for a little bit of one final lap or so. Now, interesting. 5-second and 10-second penalties for Bradley Kent for exceeding track limits. So he's going to drop behind Shepard. Shepard is going to end up in second position here.
Oh dear, Bradley Kent at his home track, which he was so looking forward to racing at, stuck it on pole for race 1, pole for race 2, at the front again here running in second in race 3, and he's going to come away from the weekend with hardly any points at all, because a 15-second net penalty is going to drop him right down the order and elevate Shepard to second and his brother Lewis onto the podium.
And we're on the last lap. Check out the advantage that Alex Lee has been able to extend. What an incredible drive this is from the Lifestyle and Mobility Hyundai. Alex Lee has been absolutely extraordinary in this race. 3 on the deck, 1 in the air as he comes up to clearways. And there is Brad Kent. He'll finish second on the road in front of Shepard, but that 15-second penalty is going to hamper him. Alex Lee, first win in TCR UK, triumphant. Wham bam, thank you and good night.
And he is the youngest ever race winner in the championship, the 19th different driver to stand on the top step of a TCR UK Championship race. Second in the end goes to Adam Shepard once that penalty is applied to Bradley Kent, and he will keep on tumbling down the order. But hey, Alex Lee, what can you say about this impressive youngster? This is his second time in the car, Jake.
Shepard in second from Kent, Isaac Smith P4 from Max Hart, who is still there in the top 5. Brad Hutchison and Bruce Winfield in front of Chris Smiley. Andrew Wilmot in 9th place. Jessica Hawkins finishes up in the top 10 in the 3rd race of the weekend. Callum Newsham in front of Scott Sumpton from Matthew Wilson. Bradley Kent tumbles all the way to 14th in the end. Darrell Wilson, Chris Wallace, Jack Depper and Jamie Tonks, and then the retirements. Antwort Neals and Jack Constable. The non-starters after the first lap incident were Trotter, Gales and Joyce.
I'm always happy when there's a new winner, and especially a new winner that hasn't done much racing in TCR UK. The smile says it all. Alex, I mean, that was a proper race win, that, mate, and it wasn't easy, was it?
No, it was really hard. I had a lot of pressure from Brad, especially with the 2 restarts as well. And then the safety car came out, I was like, oh no. But I managed to just soak up the pressure and got the first position, so really happy.
What a result.
Yeah, well pleased with that. We, as I say, we didn't know that we were going to be racing literally 10 minutes before we were due out, so Alex Lay's team give us a drive shaft, which is nice of them. Yes, to reward the team with a second after the weekend with the first few rounds that we've had has been good, yeah.
Very, very bittersweet. Brad drove his socks off this weekend, you know. He couldn't fault him all weekend. He's just had troubles from the start onwards. But yeah, it's good for us in our points gain. So I think we're sitting pretty high up now, either second or first now. So yeah, it's good for me, but unlucky for Brad.
Goodyear Diamond Trophy. It's a proper piece of silverware, mate, and I'm just looking at it down here. It's one of the biggest trophies we give out. For the over 40s, so me and you can have a good go at it. You're having a proper go at it, but talk to me about the overall championship, because you're sitting pretty, mate. It's pretty good, top 10.
Yeah, I think Russell Joyce is probably leading it. I've had a bit of bad luck at the beginning of the season. It means a lot to try and win something, and to win a diamond trophy. It means you're the fastest of the old fellas.
That's one way to look at it, but it's been a good weekend in general, isn't it? And picking up some silverware as well is amazing.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun this weekend. We've had a few issues. I've had, like me being myself, I'm an issue behind the car, behind the wheel. But no, it's been good. It's been good. Well, it's like credit to the team really, because every time I've come in, I've been downbeat, and they lift me back up. They ask me the issues, and they put it right for the next one. And then we've just gone out in this race, and it's been mega. The car's been amazing, the best it's ever been, and I've felt really, really comfortable.
So Max Hart, despite a difficult weekend here at Brands Hatch, retains the points lead from Isaac Smith, Lewis Kent and Chris Smiley. Callum Newsham, meanwhile, into the top 5, whilst further back Alex Lee and Adam Shepard jump into the top 10 in the points, heading into the second half of the season. Behind them, Jess Hawkins, the race winner at Alton, is 11th, ahead of Jamie Tonks. Bradley Kent, though, all the way down in 13th place. Meanwhile, Russell Joyce and Andy Wilmot very close together as they dispute the Goodyear Diamond Trophy Award next to each other in the championship. Then it's Neil Trotter, Steve Gales, Chris Wallace, Hugo Cook and Mark Smith to round out the scorers.
So there we have it from Brands Hatch in the TCR UK Championship. Absolutely stunning weather, great racing, new race winners. But next time it's Alton Park. We'll see you then.